Hey YouTubers, it's the professor. I know it's been a while, but that's because class has been kicking my butt as usual. Looked at some of my personal messages and I saw I had a couple more inquiries about the medical school application process. And I've been answering these individually, but I figured since I've gotten a good number of them that I would make a video. And I just want to say I really feel honored that my opinion matters to you ladies, because it's been ladies, but any gentlemen out there. And if there's any way I can help now or later or once you get in, because you will get in, just send me a message. Okay, first and foremost, to those who inquired who are not really going through the process yet, but maybe freshmen in college or high school seniors, I'm just going to go through and tell you from A to Z what I think is important when you're on your med school hustle, because that's what it is, and I remember it very fondly. 2.5 years ago, it was a killer. First and foremost, doctor. That is a very broad title. There are so many different types of doctors, and I would hate for you to just go into one based on what your mommy and your daddy told you should do. A doctor can be a PhD, a MD, a DO, a DPM, a DPT, a PharmD. Oh my gosh, there's a gambit of them. But if you want to go into the clinical setting, or some type of physician, some type of doctor, whether it's DPM, DPT, DO, MD, I would suggest that if you're not sold, to go and shadow people in these professions and see what their scope of practice is, what it is they do on a day-to-day basis, how they're living, because you might be surprised and it might help you tailor the process a little better. Okay, so once you know what type of doctor you want to be, see what types of schools are offered for that profession. Are they all classroom based? Do they have problem based learning? Are they pass-fail? Are they graded? Which type of teaching philosophy is better for you? Then once you've narrowed that down, look at the schools that fall under that philosophy and see, okay, is this school liberal? Is it conservative? Does that matter to me? Is it religious or religiously affiliated? Is it more research-driven school? Is it a community outreach type of school? All these things will help you narrow down where you want to apply and what you need to do to get into that school. Now that you've found a school that fits you, you want to see, do you fit the school? So I know for a fact at Loyola you can find out, as far as admissions criteria, how things are weighted. So if you can, look on their websites and see how different things are weighted as far as GPA and MCAT and extracurriculars, so on and so forth. But I know for me, as far as the medical school process goes, I have what I like to call the medical school trinity. And that is MCAT, GPA, personal statement. Now I know 2/3 of the trinity are numbers based, but that's because the medical school pool is so huge and it's so competitive. And once you get in, the academics are so rigorous that the schools really want to see those numbers because they want to make sure you can survive the curriculum. Going to medical school is like a marriage. It is very expensive. It is taxing on your spirit, on your mind, on your body. It's something that you don't want to go into lightly. That's why it's very important that you research all the components of the schools, because it can be a very long 4 years if you're not careful. And the schools they want the marriage to work for them as much as you want the marriage to work for you. Okay, so GPA and MCAT. I hate to say it, but you want to stay above the 3.5. You want to stay in the 28s and 30s as far as your MCATs to be competitive. Now let's say you may not be the bomb in numbers. Your personal statement can save you. Your personal statement can sometimes make up for inconsistencies in your transcript. Let's say you were a 3.0 student straight across. One semester you got a 1.0. Maybe it was because there was a death in the family. Maybe it was because you had some relationship problems. Maybe it was because you decided to pledge and your priorities were skewed. Let them know in your personal statement. That's the place where you can really let the admissions committee know who you are. And I'm not saying write a biography, but let them know who you are. Somewhere along the line, medical schools started to realize that they were letting in these very bright students who could not communicate and who had very poor bedside manner. So that's when the personal statement, extracurriculars, volunteer work, research became a very important component in the admissions process. So you can make yourself be very stellar by having a consistent volunteer history, having a consistent history of having leadership positions in organizations on campus. If you held a full-time job while you were in school, that's something very important to let the admissions panel know, because maybe you have a 3.0, which to the layman seems like a great GPA, but again, this process is very competitive, and sometimes 3.0 for some schools is not good enough. But let's say you worked 40 hours a week and you still kept a 3.0. Then there's a student that has a 3.7 that didn't do anything but go to school. Your 3.0 might all of a sudden become what they want. So just be honest, be open, tell your story, and if you did a good job in researching the school and you know this school would probably be a good fit for you, you might end up being a good fit for them. Now, to piggyback on that, once I got into school, I started to realize that a lot of my classmates knew somebody, or their mother is a doctor, or their father is a dean at a school, or something like that, because in the real world, sometimes it's about who you know. One thing I did, and I suggest you do if you're not fortunate to have, Ben Carson as your cousin or something. My top 3 schools, I sent emails to the dean of admissions or the director of admissions, whatever they have at that school. And I sent it when it wasn't busy season. So spring, summertime, your top 3 schools, send them a concise email that outlines A, B, C, and D, why you think you'll be a good fit for their school, why you want to go to their school. And you should know this because you already did your research. Then ask them, okay, can I come in and visit? Do you all have an ambassadors program where I could talk to students, where I could talk to faculty and, probably get a better feel for your school? That way you kind of have name recognition. Now let's say maybe your GPA, your grades, your Trinity ain't tight, okay? And you can't really complete your hustle this year. Look at post-bac programs. I know a lot of schools offer post-bac programs that if you do well in the post-bac, you get a guaranteed interview, or you might get guaranteed admission. So if what you want to be is a doctor, don't let it die. Don't let anything get in your way. If it doesn't work this first time, if you say, okay, my Trinity ain't tight, find a way to make yourself more competitive. Find a way to make yourself more appealing. Reevaluate the schools that you're applying to, because maybe your goal or the school that you're looking at, you are just not a fit. It's just, sometimes Harvard is not for you. It's not for everyone. So sometimes you need to reevaluate where you're applying, and that could be your flaw. But whatever it is, don't quit. Keep going, and I know you'll make it. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or whatever, just go ahead and send me something, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I did have people asking me about graduate school and master's programs, but I didn't have as many inquiries about that, so I will continue to answer those on a person-to-person basis. Okay, peace and blessings, and good luck to you, but I know you don't need it.